Let's go back to the telephone right now. I believe we have one of the winners from last night out at Lakeside Speedway. Good morning. Is this Kerry?
Yes, sir. How are you?
Kerry Davis. Congratulations.
Kerry Davis.
Yep.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Hats off, bud.
Thank you, man. It's finally nice to get a whole night in and not have a tore-up race car, and it was actually pretty good.
You got a great start to the race last night, but it wasn't easy. Justin Johnson got out in front. How'd you chase him down for the win?
Yeah, he was a little bit too tight. You can see him slide through the black, and then it picked the nose up, which I've been doing most of the summer, so I know what that's like. And my car, we had freed it up enough to where you could actually keep a hold of it, and I got underneath him and went on. Didn't have any yellows, so that made it pretty nice.
You look smooth and fast from where I was watching up in the stands. Didn't look like you was fighting the car. Looked pretty fluid, and hats off to you and your team. I know everybody's looking for that first one, and hats off to you and your father for getting it done last night.
Oh, I appreciate it. As you well know, man, it's a lot of hours laying on your back underneath the garage scratching your head, so I was tickled to finally get one.
Yeah, you bet.
Kerry, that's your second win of the year. You did win up at Heartland Park earlier this year, right?
Yes, sir, I did.
Yep. That's so.
That's like night and day, those two racetracks. I mean, Lakeside last night's heavy and a little bit textured, and Heartland Park's usually black and smooth like a street. And so, I mean, it's just they're two completely different worlds.
It looked like a typical Lakeside Speedway racetrack from years gone by to me last night, was it?
Yeah, it was. I mean, I think they had all the rain this week, so they could. Well, they've done a good job this summer, man. They've had some awesome racetracks out there, and I'm the one that always complains about the mud, and I like to dry, and lo and behold, the night is muddy. I actually finally win. So I just I enjoy the dry racing a lot better than I do the mud. And like I say, they had so much rain and stuff this week, so they've been doing a good job this summer.
Yes, they have.
Yeah. Hey, I don't know if anybody knows this, and I asked him if I could talk about this on the air, and I'm gonna say it right now, and we probably should have done this in hour number one so people on Sports Radio 810 can hear. But Mike Knight, the operator of the track out there, and basically the caretaker of the racetrack for Mark Olson. I don't know if anybody knows this, but he's basically homeless right now, and I talked to him about this. He was living out there at Lakeside Speedway in that mobile home out back, and the flood came and destroyed that mobile home. And then he moved up to a trailer up at I-35 Speedway. Mike Johnson put him up there.
Well, that's where I thought he was living.
A tornado hit it
when
that tornado went up through there and destroyed the trailer that he was living at I-35. He is living in basically the basement of Lakeside Speedway right now, him and his wife.
I mean, here's a family who's been hit by a flood and a tornado all in the span of about 7 months.
That's
7 months' time.
Why didn't they say nothing about it?
Well, they don't want to talk about it, but I will take because they're embarrassed.
I mean, the racing community is probably the biggest people there is around here. You know what I mean? We do for everybody we can. Why can't we take care of all of our own?
Yeah, I totally get that, and I think what we need to do is find somebody that has an old mobile home that's not being used, or maybe a place that sells those repossession mobile homes, or even if it's as little as an old RV or something that they could live in. But we need to rally together and try to help out Mike Knight and his wife, because I just feel terrible for him.
Like I said, I don't know that anybody knows anything about it. I've never heard nothing about it, so I just assumed he was living in a trailer at I-35.
Yeah, it happened. I think it happened in the last day of January or something, like early February or something like that. Yeah, that's how long ago it happened. But
and nobody said nothing.
Yeah, Mike went to they were in town, or they were somewhere. They weren't home.
He's a pretty private guy. I got to know him over this summer, and I can tell you, he's a very private individual and
proud guy.
He's very proud. You bet. And, and like I didn't know either, guys, and he's never said anything to me, and I come over and get water from him all the time. So, pretty humble man.
I mean, how important has this guy been to Lakeside Speedway?
Well, I tell you what, he's really got that place going in the right direction. Kerry hit the nail on the head. It's been great all year long. We dealt with rain this week.
It's not just Mark Olson. I mean, Mike Knight has been around since the I-70 days. If you remember, they did I-70 and Lakeside for Ted Carlson when he owned both racetracks when they were pavement. He was the guy that took care of the property at both places. Yeah. So he's been around this game for a long time, and I think we need to find some people if anybody's out there listening that might know somebody that I'll do the footwork. If somebody wants to give me a contact number, I'll call them up and see if we can get something worked out. But we need to do something for Mike. I bet you Mike's in his 60s and having to deal with all these problems as well.
Right.
So
that's great.
I think we need to try to do something for him.
Yeah, we were wanting to do a piece on RacinBoys TV, and I think Mike was a little bit reluctant to even be interviewed. Like he just didn't want all that many people to know about
him.
Well, it'd be hard to ask for help or something like that. But I mean, gee whiz, it's kind of embarrassing to have one of our own that does that, and he's there every week doing it, and then nobody knew nothing about it. That's kind of a bad deal.
Well, I asked him about doing an interview with us, and he didn't want to do it. And I said, "But Mike, can we talk about it and see if we can get some help?" He said, "Yeah, but I'm fine with that, but I don't want to really talk about it. It's just too hard to talk about."
Right.
So we need to try to do something for him, and if somebody's got again, any kind of living quarters, that even if it's temporary, it'd be better than living in a storage room at Lakeside Speedway.
We're happy they're safe. They were not home when the tornado hit. I think they were in Kansas City, and they got a call. I don't know whether it was Mike Johnson that called him and said, "Boy, I hate to break this to
tornado just hit your house."
Tornado just hit your house.
Wow.
And this is in the aftermath of his home getting flooded at Lakeside Speedway. I mean, that's just hard to imagine how anybody deal with all that.
Right. Yeah, that'd be a lot. That's for sure.
I think what I need to do is reach out to our friends at 4, 5, and 9 and Channel 41 and get them to get in on this story.
Yeah,
maybe
because we've done that call for action deal before, like an engine in the lady's car that got a bad deal. And it was through Fox 4.
Yeah,
it gets lost. The tragedy of Lakeside Speedway being flooded and all that, but you can't forget the fact there was people's homes were affected here. I mean, Mike Knight's home was affected, which is far worse than a racetrack getting flooded, in my mind.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's try and get some normalcy back to their lives, and I think Scott, you grabbing a torch, and like you said, reaching out to some of your friends in the media to generate some awareness and see what we can do as a family. To pull something together for them. I think it'd be a kind gesture.
Shoot, yeah.
Need to get on that.
Yeah. So what's been the big factor in getting your car to run fast and right now here at this point in the season where you win a race last night at Lakeside Speedway?
Man, we've been working and working and working. Stephen Bowers at SB Chassis built me a new car with a winner, and Dennis Melvin got me an engine going. We got plenty of power. We couldn't get both of them going in the same direction on the same night. And so we worked on it and worked on the chassis setup quite a bit. It's a lift arm car, so it's different from what we've had in the past, and it requires different things. And everything I think I should be doing, I need to do the opposite to make this car go. So I'm hard-headed, and it just takes me a while to get it. We had about 3 or 4 weeks stretch where the car was pretty good. And so then you get it at home and scale it and change stuff and think, I put that back where it was at, it'll be better. And so just me learning. You think as many years as I raced, I should know exactly what to do, but Jean can probably contest to this, that you never have all this stuff figured out.
It's always evolving, that's for sure.
Yep.
This year they've added more spoiler, and the body dimensions are changing. We're dealing with aerodynamics in dirt racing now that are definitely changing the balance of the car, and it's just finding that. And like you said, what worked for us back then isn't working for us now, and it truly comes to that. The track's still the same.
And the chassis builders put way too many holes in these cars to adjust stuff.
Yes.
And they do. You need to weld up 50 holes in the back of them cars and let's go race.
I remember I think you were maybe the first one to come out with about 30 different holes on your arms back there, if I remember right, Kerry. And all that does is cause tinkeritis, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. My dad looks at me and scratches his head. He goes, "Really, you're going to do that?" And I'm like, "I got to try it." And he goes, "Why do these cars have so many holes in them? I'll never know."
That's awesome.
I think that was when you were still with Dirtworks at that time, wasn't
it? Yeah. Gary and them got a set of brackets made, and we stuck it on one of my cars. And it was definitely an eye-opening experience. You wouldn't think moving something that much would make that big of a difference in a car, but it sure does.
Mm-hmm.
How do you take what you did last night to Heartland Park, Topeka? Tracks are so much different. Are you able to apply anything from one track to the other?
You might as well forget everything we done last night. The attitude, the confidence in me of being able to race is a good thing to take to another track. But as far as setup goes, I'll be over there most of the afternoon changing stuff to get it ready to go.
Kerry, how's Terry Watland handling that place up there? You were raised around Terry. He's been our flag man forever. I mean, you might even remember back in the day when he raced. How's he handling that position up there?
He's doing a good job. Topeka's always been a little different when you race out there. He got in everybody's butt pretty good last week in the drivers' meeting and stuff, but he done a pretty good job of kind of beat us up a little bit about what we're doing wrong and then pick you back up right at the end of the meeting before he lets you go racing and stuff. So he's got a pretty good handle on it. They've been messing with the racetrack quite a bit. I really haven't figured out why they're doing that, but they've been watering it and tearing it up and doing a bunch of different stuff they normally don't do. I don't know if that's him or who that is, but they've had a really nice racetrack for the last couple of years, week in and week out, and that's one of the things that draw the cars up there. But he had his hands full when he went into that deal. It was kind of a mess, and you can't let the racers run the racetrack for sure. So it's taking him a little while to get a hold of it, but he's doing good.
He's playing a firm hand, and he really doesn't care who wins, does he?
No, no. There ain't no favoritism stuff. They act like there is up there, but that's always been the MO with Topeka stuff, and he treats us all the same and lets us go. He makes his mistakes just like we do as racers, and he'll make sure and man up to his mistakes just like we should ours. So it's been pretty good.
I got to believe that he's taken a page out of old Larry Castor's book. He knew Larry well enough to know that
he's got a little bit of that. This is the way it's going to be attitude, which is not a bad thing,
But Larry was the same way, though. He'd chew you out right there in front of everybody in the drivers' meeting, but then he'd pat you on the back about 10 minutes later.
Sure, yeah. He's been, like I said, I don't know. A lot of people will sit on the computer and type all that stuff up, but if they'd really want to go out there and do it, they'd see it's probably not near as easy as what they think.
You can't allow the inmates to run the asylum.
There you go.
A good promoter will break you down, then build you back up again.
Hey.
Yep, he did. He's done a good job. So, like I say, both places have been pretty decent this year. Everybody has their issues with JD, and that'd be 2 other shows. So,
yeah,
that could be a month's worth of shows for me.
Oh yeah. It's just one of those things. You got to treat people the way you want to be treated, and sometimes I think these people that run some of the racetracks forget what we're there for and what we're doing. They preach like they know what. The reasons we're supposed to be there and everything else, but whenever it's just one person with another one, it's a whole different ball game. So,
yeah, well said.
Kerry,
what else? I was going to ask, what else are you going to do this year? You're just going to run the 2 tracks? You're going to step out and do any specials or do anything other than Heartland Park, Topeka, and Lakeside?
We might towards the end of the year. We might go to some of the specials they have at the end. But right now, 2 nights a week is a full cup for us. Yeah, my oldest boy played baseball all summer, and he does tournament ball. So it was Monday night practice, Wednesday night practice, Friday, Saturday, Sunday tournaments. So between that and racing, you're pretty much jumping every day, all day long.
Yeah. How long until your youngest son races, Kerry?
I don't know. I think that's what's going to happen. Everybody asks him if he's going to play baseball, and he looks at him and snarls his nose up. He goes, "No, I'm racing." So I'm going to have to get him something. We've been wanting to take him out to Topeka for the little quarter midgets on Sundays, but my wife, when she hears the quarter midget deal, her nose wrinkles up just about like his does, and I'm like, well, we're going to have to figure out something to do. So
it's called Thunder Lake Speedway.
Well, I know this guy that's running that deal over there, but I can't imagine having a kid in a go-kart and nothing holding him in there, no cage around him. That scares me.
You, brother.
Hey, you know what? You guys need to come out and watch this because it truly it gets a bad rap.
I'm sure.
The seats fit snug. The racing, let me tell you, the tires are as big as the tires that we race on our cars. They're a 10-inch tire, and you imagine 10 inches of rubber holding, for a light kid, the total weight of the cart might be 260 pounds. Right. So there's a lot more grip than you'd ever imagine, and they are slicks. I mean, it truly, can they flip? Do they flip? Yes. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Right.
But with proper guidance, and we hope as parents we teach our kids how to do it, and we educate them, and we show them the right way, and you teach them how to drive, and that comes from you and I. And
right.
passing that on, and you know, it's
John, we both had them nights. They might not want to drive like us. I've had a couple this year. It's like, oh, don't do that.
Very true.
Don't learn from you, huh?
No.
Everybody teases me that my son will always be a much better race car driver than me, and I said, well, I hope so. You know, it'd be a blessing to see, you know, my son, any of us racers, our son, our children, you know, be able to pass the helmet on to them and be able to participate and do with them what we love to do.
Right.
You just have the chance to do that. My kid's not interested. So.
Oh, yeah. I think my little one's going to be my oldest one. He's definitely not interested in racing. He likes baseball. That's all he wants to do. So
and you're
okay with that.
You're fine with that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
I'm great. It don't bother me. I mean, we've never been one to force him into doing anything. I bought him a four-wheeler that sat here for a year and never rode it. And then all of a sudden one day he got interested in it and took off. So, I mean, he can do what he wants to do. That's his choice, not mine.
Yeah.
Hey, Kerry, I got to ask you before we let you go. So what are the drivers? Are they pretty pumped up about what's going on out at Lakeside with the live television?
Well, yeah, they are. Come on. I see people over there polishing on the sides of their cars, taking fluorescent tape on their fluorescent number where it had a tire rub and covering it up and filling it in. Yeah, they're all excited about it. It's neat. It's a good deal. My phone was completely blowed up when I got out of my car last night because the people that are not at the racetrack are at home watching it. So they're send you text messages, send you everything. So it's really neat. It's good for our sport.
Yeah, that's good.
Well,
man.
congrats on your win.
I can't wait to get home
night.
and watch them.
Thank you.
Congrats, Kerry.
Thanks,
Kerry.
Thanks for being on the show.
Good luck tonight. All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Take care. There he is, Kerry Davis. First-time win at Lakeside Speedway. He's got 2 feature wins, one at each racetrack he races at on a weekly basis at BriggsAuto.com Speedway tonight at Heartland Park, Topeka. Kerry Davis here on RacinBoys TV.
What are you doing running around in there, Kirk?
Oh, I'm just running around all over the place. I can do that as great as John O'Neill is here in studio. I can afford to get up and go in and check on a couple of things.